A mother and her son walk into a bar to discuss the idea of opening a business together. Oh, no, wait, they didn't, because the son is underage, just 17 years old to be exact. In this Fibrenew podcast, we're in conversation with Robyn and Luke Deering, the mother and son combo behind Fibrenew Cape Coral, Florida. When Luke was just a junior, he knew that he wouldn't pursue college after graduating from high school. For Robyn, his mother, the tuition money she would have spent on college for Luke was now in question. So the two of them spoke about what to do and ultimately decided to open a Fibrenew franchise together. Even though Luke is now just in grade 12, he's getting an education in business in the real world. And Robyn gets the satisfaction of running a business with her son. My name is Jesse Johnstone. Thank you very much for being here with us. And we hope you enjoy listening to the remarkable story that Robyn and Luke are about to share with us.
Hi, I'm Robyn Deering. We started the Fibrenew franchise in Cape Coral, Florida.
And I'm Luke Deering, technician of my mom, Robyn Deering.
Yeah, we love the story of you guys starting this business together. And that's one of the first questions I wanted to put out there is what led up to the decision to, go into business together essentially. Robyn, I know you were the primary investor because Luke is still in high school. So you've got the money, Luke has the muscle. How did you guys decide to want to do this together?
Well, one big reason was I was never really a book, heavy person. So I didn't want to go to college, but I still wanted to apply myself, do a business, and we were both looking for something that would match both of us because she has a graphic arts background and, she's worked with colors a lot. And I just like doing, so it's like, I like Fibrenew because it's sort of, physical, but not super it's not super intensive. It's a perfect fit for both of us. It's got something for each one of us. We each have our strong suits.
And for me, it was, when he came to me and said, "Mom, I don't want to go to college. I don't want you to spend that money. I don't think I'll do well." It reminded me of when I was in college and I was working 3 jobs to, get through engineering school, sitting by kids who goes, "God, my mom made me come because I hate college and stuff." And it's like, you shouldn't force someone to do something they're not good at, especially something this expensive, as expensive as college. And actually, I have a background in franchise consulting, and I knew that, buying a franchise is a fraction of the price of going to a lot of colleges, and it just better suited his skill set. I told him all the time, because he has siblings that do super well in school. And I said, they just don't test in school the things that you're good at, because I drug him to trade shows and franchising conventions and stuff. And he does well in business. He shakes hands, he talks to people. He has a really good sense of how money works and things. So I was really on board with it. It was just a matter of finding the one that would be a good fit for us day in and day out. And Fibrenew is just like shooting fish in a barrel. It's just such a simple, sure thing that I was comfortable doing it.
Excellent. Okay. Do you want to get into more detail on the why? But I'm going to go back to, so Luke, you were a junior when you came to your mom with this realization, or you started talking about this? How old were you when you knew
Well,
that?
when I knew I didn't want to go to college, I was probably about 12 years old. But when I was starting to think seriously about what I wanted to do with my life, yeah, I was around a junior in high school. And we had looked at a few different franchises, and this one just was just the perfect fit for both of us. It has so many different aspects. Like she said, it's shooting fish in a barrel because there's so many different markets. And like what we've noticed as we've been on jobs is so when we have a tear and we need to put color cure over it, I can put color cure over it really well. I'm really good with the palette knife. And so while I'm doing that, she can mix the color. So we finish a lot faster than, it could take possibly with just one person,
Yeah. Yeah. You have a good workflow situated. Okay. That's awesome. So technically at your age, you're Gen Z. Is
Yeah,
that?
I'm a Gen
Yeah.
Z. I'm Gen Z. Yeah.
Okay. And your friends in your Gen Z pool, Are they interested in school? Are they interested more in trades, business? What goes on in your friend circle?
A lot of my friends, personally, they talk about some of the similar things I would talk about. They talk about, oh, well, college is, a scam and all that, but they don't enact a plan. And I think it's not a good idea to just, oh yeah, I'll figure it out, college is not, you gotta enact a plan. But a lot of my friends are just tired of, oh, you have to go to college right after high school, but there's so many different options, and I don't think a lot of people understand that.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say you're definitely part of a trend where there's some skepticism on going down the traditional route of going to college, maybe in more traditional type, degrees of let's get a law degree, let's get a business degree, let's get an English degree or whatever it happens to be, a marketing degree. A lot of those things are being disrupted, and there's an offshoot going the other way, more into the trades and the hands-on aspect. So you're definitely part of that trend from what I can see. So Robyn, your reaction when Luke came to you, with this realization, you know him, obviously. You weren't surprised, I imagine, or
Well, I was a little deflated, because it's like uh, it's like, well, how can you not, and I've always been that way with him, like, how can you not want to read? I got him to read The Outsiders and that franchising Scott Greenberg. That was about it. And where I would just read for fun or do math for fun.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay. You didn't
so,
get
but
that
I
gene from
had
you.
to. Yeah, sometimes as a parent, you just have to step back and go, okay, well, this isn't the mini me, this is a person and I wanted to find something that would really play to his strengths. And as I saw him, develop as a person, it was like, and I'm a little bit of a nerd and, something I've noticed with his siblings, it's like he has a big brother that's a Marine and he was just born to be a Marine. I
Mhm.
wouldn't recommend that for everybody, but Jesse, that's what he was born for, and then he's got a sister that's like got the culinary art. So it's like you just gotta let everyone be their best. When I got over my own little ego and just took a deep breath, it's like, okay, well, what are we really looking at here? And it's like Fibrenew was just like so welcoming to, the fact that you're a brand that's been around for 40 years.
Mhm.
When we called people to validate, um, I didn't have any problem just letting him talk to people because it's such a warm family uh, type of organization
Mhm.
that it felt like he was going to be in good hands, even if I had to step back or if he steps back and because that's also something that happens a lot of times. Parents will buy a franchise and try to force it on their, well, he's not going to go to college. I'll just buy him a business and he'll do it, by gosh. And so I thought, well, I better have a safety plan. It better be something that I enjoy doing. And I really do. I didn't know how much I would like it until we actually started doing it. But it's like doing something with your hands. And then at the end, it's like you feel so good. It looks great and they're happy. And so it worked out, but a lot of it is just, letting your kids be who they are and be their best.
So important, and encouraging that in whatever shape that happens to be, right?
Yeah.
That's really what you're talking about. Why the decision to start the business now when Luke was essentially a junior heading into a senior year as opposed to waiting until he's done high school? What are the plans there or the thoughts, Reem?
Honestly,
Or was it
the
just a timing thing, just with
part of
where
it
you're
was
at?
timing because I'm a corporate refugee and I was watching my 401k just sort of evaporate and I'm like, no, 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 no. I need to invest this money.
Okay.
Like I'm not going to sit there and watch it evaporate.
Okay.
So I was going to invest in something, and I think it turned out to be good timing too because I'm learning Fibrenew and the bookkeeping and all that. So, and he's doing it, kind of part time, so I can kind of have that a little more polished before I hand it off.
Okay.
And then so as I'm doing some of that real foundational stuff that you wouldn't want an 18-year-old doing. He's getting to do the stuff that every 18-year-old excels at. He's doing the social marketing. He's working with the AI to polish up some stuff, so it's a good time, and it gives us time to just sort of gel. So by the time he's ready for full time, it'll be a little more polished and ready to go.
Gotcha. So after graduation, Luke, you're basically a rocket ship.
Yeah, I'll be starting full time, and I'll already know how to do it because I've been doing it. I'm just step up my responsibilities a bit more when I get out of high school.
Okay.
I think it works well like that because, it's not going to be a gap time where I'm, finding myself for a year. No, I'm going to graduate and make more money,
You're going to find yourself running the business.
Yeah,
Is what's going to
exactly.
happen.
Yeah.
But for your senior year, you said you're done school at about 1:15, and then
Yeah, 1:15, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we usually we're scheduling, doing one for 2:30 or 3, do that job, go home, do the bookkeeping. The timing works out perfectly.
Okay.
So when I drop him off at school, I go drop brochures because the medical offices and stuff are open there. The restaurants are open, the car lot. So I drop a few brochures, and then I can do jobs by myself, but if anything's like really big or it's going to be time consuming, I can schedule those for, the afternoon. So it just kind of is nice that way. And his teachers have always been really cool about even last year and going to trade shows and stuff like that, him coming to Calgary in October for training. It's like, that's school. I tell him, sometimes through these networking workshops and stuff, I'm like, this is your college, dude. So,
Yeah. Wow. So your teachers know what you're up to outside of school.
Yeah,
Okay.
Especially I have a lot of assignments that are based around, so what are you gonna do after high school? It's like it's always like it's never what everyone else is doing. And I appreciate, it's like, no one has ever been, like, oh, you don't seem like you have everything together. It's like it seems like everyone respects, I have a plan. I'm doing that plan. You know what I mean? I'm doing all the things to set it in motion.
Very mature indeed.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great.
I don't know if everyone, my age is on the same maturity level, but I do think that everyone my age could do it. I guarantee it. I am the youngest Fibrenewer, but I think anyone 17 could do it. I really believe that. Everyone has I think they have the tenacity to do it.
Wow. That sounds like a challenge, Luke. Anybody?
Yeah. Who wants to do younger than me? No. Yeah. Reigning champion.
Okay. Let's go back to the shooting fish in a barrel aspect that we talked on previously. So tell me more about that. What do you mean by that comment in particular, Robyn?
well, I was a little terrified, it's like, well, how are we going to drum up business, and before we even left training, I was like, I think we just got a job in Jobber, and I had to call and say, we'll be back in a week or so. And then when we got back, it was our first couple of weeks, we were fairly busy. We had at least an assessment, and a lot of those turned into jobs almost every day. I remember the first time we had 2 in one day. We went and got ice cream after and everything, and that's our goal. We want to get to 2 jobs a day, and I can see how it is possible because it's like once we have a little more momentum, we're already booking out a week or 2.
Okay.
I don't have all those spots filled yet, but I can see how we will. And, like I drop him off at school, super early in the morning. It's like, well, it's not like I can't go work because the medical offices in Southwest Florida are abundant. I could spend 16 hours just doing, the medical offices. And if I get bored with that, like this last week or so, and the cars was getting a little brutal. I'm like, we need to like focus on some restaurants or residential, get out of the heat a little bit. There's so many different things that you can do.
Yeah.
And you know, for us in Southwest Florida, we've got the marinas, we've got the boats, and the best part is we've got a bunch of affluent older people, and we've got a lot of super rich that aren't going to fiber new, they're going to replace everything every time. But we have a lot in the middle, especially those like right now, with the economy like it is and whatnot, that they're looking at trying to save stuff, and they have like leather couches like in your background there, or their chair that it's like, well, I told him he ought to get rid of that, but he says it just fits just right, and I'm like, yeah, let's save it, and we've saved a few, so it's really it's not that hard. Everywhere we look, it's like, oh, we need to stop there. Oh, we need to network with that one. It's everywhere. There's more work than I have time to pursue.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
it's
Yeah.
great. It's
It's
not like we're struggling to find.
And
yeah,
at the
it's
time of
really
this
hard to
recording, oh, sorry, just going to mention, Luke, time of this recording, you're not even 2 months in, are you? I mean,
yeah, just coming up on 2 months, I think.
The
yeah, I think,
20th will be 2 months.
Yeah.
yeah, next week will be your 2 month mark. So way to go. That's a good start. Sorry, Luke, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I was just saying, there's a lot of networking events that I go to, and she'll usually get me to do the pitch. And I'm really pretty good at those, like she said, but sometimes there's say 90-second pitch. It's like there's so many markets we have. I really have to do that fast. And what I found out I say at the end is like, if you have stuff, we can repair it because everything. It's couches, boats, it's almost, and everybody has something that is Fibrenew.
Oh, and I didn't want to I didn't want to argue because it's really just a hairbreadth with, difference. But the majority of our work, at least these first, few weeks has been warranty. I ran a report in Jobber.
Mhm.
And our first month, that was a really, really nice bonus, and I didn't even get all of them filled out when we first got back. I tried, but it's like a lot. And I got, a few of them filled out, and I'm still getting requests. So it's really Fibrenew building those national accounts so that even if you have a sparse market, you've got something to work with and to get that experience. That was really, I think, invaluable.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that.
It's more than the money.
Good to hear. And then you're getting work probably too from your networking events. Do you pick up
Yeah.
leads and
Yeah.
opportunities? Yeah. Okay.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really easy one because we're not selling a product, that's why I love Fibrenew. We're offering a service, and it's not, I'm not going to say, well, when you need us, call us, but really it is about when they need us because
They
everyone
will
has
eventually.
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone will eventually,
Yeah.
you know? So it's just a really easy thing. Almost every networking event, there's at least one, I schedule at least one assessment.
Yeah.
Okay. So networking events, warranty companies, website, I'm sure you're getting inquiries. Actually, you mentioned you had one before you left training. Where else is work coming from?
Um, the word of mouth from people who had it before. And also there's this, I don't know if they have it in Canada, but there's like a next door app,
Mhm.
and it's like really kind of lame, it's like mostly old people like complaining about, local politics and stuff. But that's where they go to look for home services. That's where they go, does anybody know a plumber? Does anybody know this? Does anybody know that? And we get a surprising amount of activity off that. And I just put up just very basic type posts. I haven't paid for any ads or anything like that.
Good.
And and just walking in people's doors, and shaking hands with them. I loved what we learned about the windows and the siding repairs and how lucrative that is. So we're really fought, and that's probably the hardest door for me to get in, being a girl and everything. So we joined a construction industry alliance, and we're doing our first trade show there
Good
with our
idea.
banners and everything.
Yeah.
And the guy that was the head of it, when we walked into his office, he said, it really means a lot that you come in and shake someone's hand. I mean, that people are just really impressed with that more than social media or anything else. It means something to people.
Yeah. You probably heard that in training, but we still think that's one of the greatest sources of building a business is just walking in and meeting people in their place of business or at trade shows or networking events. It's so powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, AI can do a lot, but it can't beat talking to a person and looking them in the eye and,
That's right.
shaking their hand, you know?
Absolutely. Looking at the next year, 3 years, 5 years as an outlook, what do you anticipate? What are you planning for? What does the future look like?
Well,
Put you on the spot.
yeah, this is kind of my ball game, but when I look at the projections, I think by the end of the first year we'll be, in the clear.
Okay.
I'm hoping by year 3 we'll be scaling out,
Okay.
where at least the two of us are working independently, and possibly hire that technician that we could have in a specialty market. Like if I develop that windows and bathtubs on construction sites, so we could hire a technician that just does that. So we don't have to train them in every single thing we do, but we can have someone dedicated to that, or someone dedicated to, boats or restaurant booths or something. And then by the 5th year, definitely want to have a couple of trucks on the road. And by the 10th year, I hope to be on the board and hand Luke a big binder, so to speak.
Okay. All right. And have multiple technicians by the sounds of it at that stage. So,
hmm
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, every Fibrenewer we talk to in our area, all the surrounding areas and even just random areas, they're saying, yeah, I could get a lot more work. I could scale out, but I make enough money to where I don't have to. My mindset is, it's like, I want to make the most amount of money. So I want to get, and I want to scale out, get as many technicians, and it's just, I think the business is very versatile in that way because you can, uh, have a very flexible work schedule, which that's one big draw was, you know, I'm not looking for something that, I have to put 100, 50% into it 7 days a week, 12-hour days, and stress about it after I get home.
Mhm.
Fibrenew, you work, you can work as much as you want, and that's great. But Fibrenew, you do your work, you go home, and you're not like stressing about it. You're not like, well, did that, particular thing align, it's
Yeah, that is one of the
you
nice
wait.
safety
Yeah.
valves with, setting expectations with customers. It's like, well, what does this piece mean? How much do you want to spend? Do you want perfect, or do you want pleasing to the eye and, functional, and so we can kind of, tell us that, well, yeah, we might have done like better, but it's like they wanted the middle of the road situation. They didn't want us there for 4 hours and or to recover all the leather. They wanted a simple repair. They wanted it to look good enough and get some more mileage out of it. And
Yeah, it's just nice to, you leave the job site and they're happy with you.
yeah.
It's never a hostile thing. It's like you leave, they're happy, we're happy, and it just fosters good relationships because they're gonna recommend it to a friend. Fibrenew's done such a good job with that. Like she said earlier, someone from Fibrenew years past, their mother told their daughter to call us.
Yeah. Yeah, we like that when they're happy, clients are happy that Fibrenew shows up. They're even happier when you're leaving because you've restored whatever it is that they had. So it's
Yeah, and I think Luke is probably like so enthusiastic because he's young. Some of our neighbors that he's talking to, they've already put in their 10 or 15 years. They're ready to retire, so they
right.
don't want to scale up, which is good for him if he wants to keep scaling. there's going to be available territory, in the next, probably 10 or 20 years. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Do you guys have a, a rule of any sort to separate business talk and family talk or life talk? If you're out working together during the day, you come home, are you still talking about business, or do you try to keep worlds separate at all?
I think we like to believe we can separate life and work, but any time, we will be driving, it'll be a Sunday afternoon, and we'll see a construction site, and we'll be like, she told me, I was like, take a picture of that, and like the street, oh, that's a business. Oh, that we need to stop in there,
Okay.
but it's never like a stressful thing. I'm not worrying about it when I'm trying to relax. It's just like, oh, I could do that, when we get back to the office,
Yeah.
the office,
Yeah. Okay. So you're engaged and excited most of
Yeah,
the time
it's
about the
it's an
business.
exciting thing, so we talk about it a lot, but it's
And
yeah.
we've gotten into a pretty good routine. I've worked from home for years, so I kind of had that discipline. And so like when we come home, he unloads the car, cleans the air brushes, all that stuff, puts everything away. I finish out the quotes, the paperwork, check the messages, and then we're done. Then, we've always been the family that sits down and has dinner together, so that
Good.
just kind of puts it into it, you know.
It's important. Yeah. So has it changed your mother-son relationship doing this business together? Have you noticed any noticeable changes other than what you talk about primarily now? But
Yeah, I would say in some ways, but for the most part, no. It's when it comes to work and this specific thing, it's like we're peers. So it's like we can bounce ideas off a lot more fluidly. It's not do the dishes. Okay. It's, well, we could do this and we could do that. It's a lot more, well, I saw in this, we could do that process and we could do that process. There's a lot of ways to get to the same thing.
And it's so cool
It's
for
just,
me. I mean,
yeah.
honestly, to
it
have
has to be,
a
Robyn,
kid
as
that
a
I can
parent.
do a
Yeah.
business with, because things I've done in the past were always so niche, and like, no one's going to do your engineering job with you. And then, all my kids have had like different interests and stuff, but that Luke took an interest in small business development like this is just really cool to me. And it's really fun, it's kind of like having a hobby together, like, except you make money. So that's good.
Yeah. And when I was like real little, probably about 7 years old, I don't know why I wanted to be an assistant manager. And now I'm pretty much an assistant manager because we're
Just for
both,
now. Yeah.
yeah,
He saw
yeah,
something on TV. It was so funny. He was like, little bitty guy. He's like, Mom, I know what I want to be when I grow up. I'm like, what? And he goes, oh, I want to be an assistant manager. And I was like, really?
yeah. Didn't know what to what, but you know, yeah. Dream job.
At least it wasn't the assistant to the assistant manager.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm not the assistant to the regional manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any advice for either mother, son, father, daughter combos looking at doing something similar to what you guys have done together? How did you do your research? What did you talk about? How did you plan for it? Could we just reverse engineer that? Maybe just,
Yeah, I remember because so when he said, I was like, okay, well then we'll look at getting a business. So we looked at four really seriously. And it
okay.
was a little frustrating and it was a little hard for me because I was like, especially being a franchise consultant, I'm like, well, look at this. This one's perfect. There's, here's all the advantages to it. It would be much, and you
Mhm.
go, I don't like that one. It's like, but why? I don't know. I can't tell you.
It was the
And
vibes. I don't know. I'm Gen Z,
and then it was like for me to go, okay, because this is not something you want to force on your child. I mean, we see it in franchise consulting all the time. People will try to force a business on their kid. You can't do that. Because people have to want to do it. They have to have some spark that makes them want to do stuff. no one's going to do something for you might get them to do it for a little while, but they're not going to do it well, and they're not going to do it for long. And then even under the best circumstances, I mean, I've seen it, in business, many times, even families that start out with the best intentions of doing a business together, things can change, uh, fall in love and they got to move, or whatever. And you've got to plan for the contingency. Especially if you're the investor, the main investor, is this something I want to do even if they're not there? Because the business is going to need to go on. It's not something that you can just go, okay, well, that was fun for a while. I tell people that all the time, that want to buy like trendy little things. It's like or retail. It's like, you realize retail, you're going to have to commit to some very long hours every day. It's not, that store
It's not
that
for
I
the
was
faint
in.
of heart, is it? Retail.
Yeah. And then just keep listening and keep, swinging and missing, and just, being honest, and there were some things that, you can't always, put a finger on, but, and when you if you are like equal partners, and you're going to do something as a co-investment, I would really, advise even family members, you need to come up with some documentation. You need to come up with some solid written agreements. Like, we have that, like, ever since I started the LLC, before we even found the franchise, we've had regular business meetings. We sit down, we document everything so that it's clear, and he knows what he needs to do to buy me out. He knows what my exit strategy is.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah, it's like any other business partnership at that level, isn't it? Yeah. Whether you share the last name or
and
not. Yeah.
Yeah, and Fibrenew is so good for pairs like us, I would say, just because if you're someone like me who's a young person working with someone who's got experience in many careers and all that, Fibrenew has relatively to other franchises easy bookkeeping, so it's really good for learning how to do business because it's not 3.2% is what you got to give back, and then there's a minimum. It's a flat rate for the franchise fee, which just puts that whole complicating,
Yeah.
you know,
No complicated accounting.
rigmarole. Yeah, but you still get to learn all the stuff that is going to be on everything. It's just really good life skills building, without all the complex stuff that you would think, yeah.
It's challenging, but it's not too hard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So even though you aren't going to college, you're still getting an education at the same
Oh
time.
yeah, some sort of finance degree.
Yeah. You don't get to sit on the couch and eat nachos.
Yeah, exactly. Anything we didn't touch on that you really want to mention? This is just an open floor opportunity for you both.
I'm solid. How about you?
Yeah, I think the only thing we didn't mention that I really have found I feel more and more passionate about every day is just the fact that we're saving so much stuff from the landfills. I'm finding that that whole recycling aspect of it just gives this a soul, for me too. It's not just business. So I really am dedicated to task.
Was that something important to you looking at businesses? Is that something that is important to you in general? Is the eco-friendly aspect?
Yeah, or something something meaningful. I always wanted to help people, and I was squeamish, so I couldn't be a nurse. So, but I found, through the years, I could help people in other ways, like whether it was from a human resources standpoint, or if it was just helping someone find the right business, that's help them through this due diligence so that they don't rush into something that's going to be, career suicide or something.
Right.
I have to feel like I'm making the world a better place, and I'm not just spinning wheels, shuffling paper, and it's something that you can be proud of on a lot of levels. Even if the money's not there, I still feel good at the end of the day that I made the world a little bit better today.
We love what you guys are building together, what you've done together, and can't wait to see what the next few years bring and where you take this together. So thank you very much for sharing your story and spending
Thanks
this
for
time.
having us.
Appreciate it. Thank you to Robyn and Luke for taking time to share their story with us. We hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in hearing more podcasts with Fibrenew franchisees, please subscribe to the Fibrenew Exchange wherever you get your podcasts. For more information on franchising with Fibrenew, including day-in-the-life videos, articles, and more podcasts like this one, please visit fibrenew.com/franchising. Until next time, take good care. Cheers.